Friends of Payne County, Oklahoma, you've tuned in to Pastors of Payne. We're glad you're here. We were just told before we started recording that this is episode number 275.
There was Rob. There was a day way back. This is our audio engineer in the rectory,
Producer
and
executive producer,
and liturgical dance choreographer.
Most people don't know what liturgical dance is, and that's good.
Yeah. Anywho, so Father O'Brien at the very beginning always wanted to name. He was like, "This is episode 1," and then we got to 5, and I was like, "We have to stop this. I can't do this anymore of like you announcing what episode this is, because if somebody listens to it and they're at like episode 2 and then they want 10, what? No, it's just confusing." So I said, "Cut it out." And then I had to judo chop him in the throat right at the beginning of one, and that shut him down real fast.
This is episode 275.
Oh my gosh, I'm coming for you.
We're pretty excited.
Hey,
I will tell you, there's a lot of podcasts out there.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them like take breaks. All right, we're going to take the summer off, and not us. We've never missed.
Yeah.
I mean, individually, you and I have missed, but one of us has always been here. Even that dumb episode that Healy and Porter did.
Oh my gosh. That is like...
Which my mom thought was like the greatest episode. And I was like, Mom, there was so much dead air.
I know. It was like I don't know. It was like a cold
But I was
sore.
in the next room. But I was in the next room with my headphones on because I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. I listened to it when I was in Ireland, I think.
It was fine.
Did you check the stats to see our overseas?
I didn't really.
Oh, you should check them, because there's some Ireland going on over there, and some Croatia.
Germany. We have some German listeners now.
And Croatian and Bosnia Herzegovina.
We are approaching a downloading milestone too.
What?
We're coming up. We're probably a month or two away from 200,000 downloads.
Okay. Wow.
Which I think if you listen to like the big, the bigs like that, I think that's what I don't know, what's the most popular podcast in America? Is it
what
Joe Rogan or something?
Well, one of those murder ones.
Oh yeah. I mean, they probably get that in a day.
Yeah.
But we're small.
Just like Payne County.
We're just insignificant over here in our little corner of the world.
Except when
just taking up
Victor
space.
drops. What did he say?
Yes. So we did make. If you're in Stillwater, you probably know this, but we made some national news because
world news.
One of our residents here in Stillwater, not a parishioner yet, is a guy named Victor Hovland, who's a professional golfer. Golfed at OSU. He's from Norway. Golfed at OSU. Left OSU to go to professional golf. Well, anyway, last Sunday, he won
the FedEx
$18 million in the FedEx Cup. And they were asking him after, like, what do you, I don't know how old he is, 24, 25 or something. And they said, what are you going to do with $18 million? And he said, well, money goes a long way in Stillwater.
Did he say, I live in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yeah, money goes a long way. And it's true. We're just one of the many, many reasons to live here.
Do we really want people to move here? Because it's so awesome?
A few more,
but not many.
We don't want to be.
We don't want more of these California people here. We got the Uribes.
The longer I've lived here, when I first moved here, there was like all this like, oh, we don't even have a Target. I don't want a Target.
Oh.
Like that's everyone's goal, Like let's get to, a certain level so we can get a Target.
Well, the kid mayor shut it down. Remember when there was a college student who was a mayor?
We don't need one.
And I met the people in Dallas who were running that whole operation, and they like, yeah, we had a Target set. We had the land location. It was ready to go in.
Oh,
and
I
then
didn't know that.
And then the college student who became mayor shut it down.
Oh.
Anyway, hey, but that's not what we're talking about. What today? Beforehand, I don't do this out of meanness. I'm just going to tell you people kind of like what my mother always said. She said, "I never thought you would get in trouble and end up in jail, like other kids your age or dead. You were just mischievous and ornery." So,
Yeah.
so right before this show, I asked Father O'Brien right as we were starting up, "Hey, what are we doing today?" And he looks at me with this disgusted look on his.
Because we-
Hey, whoa, just take it easy.
Because we like
I know.
talk and like agree on topics. And then
And one of my favorite things to do
I
is
like do research and like
sorry, what?
prepare.
I'm like, what are we doing again? And it just
spend time.
it's just to poke you like with a
Time is
sharp
the most
fork.
valuable commodity that I have. I don't have enough of it. And so then I spend time like, looking things up and printing things out. And then you just roll in here. Just whatever.
Okay, so people of God out there, they're people of, well, whether you're believers or not, of Radio Land, if you're on Mars or you've on Triton, one of the moons.
Tryon?
Yeah, Tryon,
Tryon,
or Triton,
Oklahoma?
Triton, or maybe you're on that Russian lunar module that crashed into the moon recently. You're probably not on that because you'd be dead. Anyway, so we think that that people need to either read or listen to more audiobooks.
Or both.
And there's a need for I think of just like increasing both our knowledge, but then also not letting our brains turn to mush.
Yeah, you should. I think a disciple of Jesus Christ should always be reading the scriptures.
Yep.
But then having some spiritual reading.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot out there. I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
Yep.
But I think sometimes, a lot of people, the education, like our educational system has like turned some people off to reading, or like that reading only needs to be done when it's when it's for an assignment or when someone's
Right.
making you do it, and that's just not true.
Right.
So if that's your mentality, you gotta get out of that.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Read for pleasure. Read for spiritual nourishment. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for you. It's a good example to your kids if you have kids. It's good for your brain, and if you're reading the right things, it can be good for your soul.
And so on this summer, as I'm 5,700 miles driving, I bought a lot of audiobooks.
Oh,
and I'm gonna go through the list of my
Tell
audiobooks
us.
that I listened to this summer.
I have not heard this. This is very
Okay.
exciting.
Okay. Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien, the
Uh-huh.
third of the series.
Yes.
I finished that off this summer. Be Healed by Dr. Bob Schutz. I listened to half of Good to Great again this
I
year.
love Good to Great by Jim Collins.
Yep,
That's
yep.
it's a business book, but strong recommend.
We'll come back to some of these. Irreversible Damage by Abigail
Abby
Schreier.
Schreier. It's
Abby-
about transgenderism.
Yeah.
and-
They call it the trans. She's basically looking at like why is the transgender
The craze.
craze going amongst young women, much like bulimia was in the 80s and 90s, or how girls get into packs.
It's a very compelling book. It's hard. I don't know if you can. I think you can't get it on.
I bought it on.
I got it on Audible.
I got it on Audible, which is owned by Amazon. Let me not stopping there. I wanted to listen.
But
to,
I want to comment on each book.
I'm going to come back to them because you got a stack over there as well. I listened to. I bought Undaunted Courage.
What's that?
Undaunted Courage is Stephen Ambrose's book about Lewis and Clark.
Oh yeah.
Because I was in this sort of like mode of like adventure and stuff like that when I was listening to Wild at Heart. Okay, you ready?
Wild
for
at Heart by what's his name? Eldridge? John Eldridge?
Yeah, John Eldridge is really good book.
I read that a long time ago and I loved it.
I got
He's
the
a good Christian dude.
I got the new version of it now.
There's a new version?
Okay, now I'm gonna disclaimer about Undaunted Courage. When I bought it, I was so excited. I bought it.
You
and
bought the abridged version.
and I was like 25 hours, and I looked at it, and it goes 431, and I was like, well, how do I download the rest of this? So I went back and reviewed it, and I hit reviews, and the first review is 1 star, and it says, "This doesn't say abridged. Don't buy." Second one, 1 star. This is the abridged. Why doesn't it say it's the abridged? And
You bought the abridged? Abridged can be okay.
But there was only one option. The long version is like 24 hours.
So?
This one is 4.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. And then I listened From Strength to Strength by Arthur Brooks.
Oh boy, have we talked about that on the show?
We're going to talk about it today.
Golly, that's such a good book.
Codependent No More by Melody Beadle. And
What does that mean?
Codependent No
Tell
More?
people what codependent means.
Well, there's different types of codependent people, and it's kind of like people who are people pleasers are also, slightly codependent. But it's also, most people connect it with the world of like alcoholism or drugs, where you're helping another person's problem. And then, well, I can get into it a little bit, but I listened to it at the beginning of the summer and sort of, and now I'm listening to this one. And this one has rocked my world, Little Country Girl. Okay?
What is it?
Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. And the
Comfort Crisis?
Crisis,
What's
yeah.
the subtitle? Subtitles, I think, are very important. The title grabs your attention. The subtitle tells you what it's really about.
The Comfort Crisis. It says Comfort Crisis. Embracing to discomfort to reclaim your wild, happy, healthy self.
Oh,
There's a sort of mood going around and teaching going around in our culture right now of people fasts, the sort of fast that takes place, also taking cold showers, not wearing jackets, people opening their windows in their house. There's they're looking at it in the neurological problems as well. That why is that cart before the horse? Is it we've always had Alzheimer's? Have we always had these brain memory issues, and people have just died off early before they showed up, or are they being induced, or is it people are living longer and they're manifesting themselves? And what they've discovered about the brain is that if you do not create new neural pathways by both movement and changing direction and doing things differently, like they say, like a cold shower shocks the system and a warm shower makes you comfortable. And so a lot of these things don't stir the mind and the body to react differently to incoming aggressors like cold water or cold air. That we live in such a comfortable bed, comfortable atmosphere, comfortable food, comfortable office, comfortable car. We even have comfortable walkways that require no navigating outside the path that we're on, that some are believing in this neurological world that may be Alzheimer's. We may be inducing Alzheimer's to
like
ourselves.
GPS?
No.
GPS, you don't have to think about anything.
I know. And it's like taking the same paths over and over and over again.
Oh.
It's like doing the same thing over and over again.
But routine, I like routine.
Yeah, you're going to get Alzheimer's and die.
You're going to die.
I probably will. So
Death and taxes, baby.
So
Guaranteed.
The comfort crisis, but it also we're also looking at a crisis in the United States right now where we have people enlisting in the military at an all-time low. Like they're scrambling to fill the ranks. And what are they looking at? Like one of my buddies, he said, we've had all these guys come to basic training and get hurt from hip injuries and knee injuries, which has never occurred in 18 and 20-year-old men. And the reason why is because they're spending so much time sitting, playing video games, watching TV, looking at Netflix, and they have neck problems when they're coming in as well because they've just been sitting doing comfort. And I said, what's the solution? And he said, well, we're probably going to go to war with China and we're going to get our butts kicked and that'll wake us up. And right now, if you look at the South China Sea, the Filipino Navy is like going through Chinese boats, and there's like outlying islands. I mean, if World War III is going to start, boom, South China Sea.
So our mutual friend, Deacon Harrison Garlick, who is the chancellor and in-house counsel of the Diocese of Tulsa, he just wrote an article that came out this week. The article is entitled "On the Crisis of Fat-Souled Men."
Oh,
soul, S-O-U-L-E-D. This is a quote. Soft and fat-souled man not only disbelieves in his own greatness, but begins to hate greatness in others. It is his fate to wallow, pallid and corpulent, deadened to eros and untouched by courage. That is.
I'm sorry, what?
That,
What were those words that he used? What was the word?
It is his fate to wallow, pallid and corpulent, deadened to eros and untouched by courage. I'll send it to you.
Oh, wow.
We can put it in the show notes, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if we use show notes.
We do. On the crisis of fat-souled men.
Well,
So anyway, that speaks to your, to that book.
Well,
What do we stand for? What are we doing?
Exactly. And there's a lot of these books like that I've been listening to over the summer and just asking like, why are we going this direction in our culture? Whether it's the transgender moment, whether it's whether it's just like sort of the laziness of just watching YouTube over and over and over again. It's like, do people really have, or have they lost the sense of adventure?
Yes.
Or is there so much entitlement that it's just, I am comfortable where I am?
Things are too comfortable.
And so I think this book, Strength to Strength, was also really helpful because it, what was it called? Strength to Strength, finding yourself in the second half of life. Finding success, happiness, and deeper purpose in the second half of life. And he made mention to John DeLorean and the kind of the midlife crisis of every man. And what his premise of this book is that when you're 40-something years old, your best years are behind you. Your best years were basically 20 to 32, when your brain was optimum, you're working like a champ, like you could sleep, you could just idea many things new and put them into action. You could, by what you did, get a PhD and a Pulitzer. But now, when you're 40, just realize.
Just give up.
Just realize you have to do something different.
I'm just kidding. Don't give up, guys.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Yeah, so even those audiobooks, like I love them. And then I read a book also this summer.
A real book? A physical book?
Uh-huh.
Tell us more.
I read a book this summer on the priesthood, on fatherhood.
Uh-huh.
On the fatherhood of priesthood. Not like being a dad, because that's what I think sometimes in college, I get set in a role of being a dad for college students. And I was praying.
Dropping kids off at school.
Sometimes.
Making their lunch.
Sometimes going.
Coaching their soccer teams.
Sometimes calling them up in the morning to make sure they're going to class. Yes.
Threatening their boyfriends.
That's happened before. But then it's how to be a father to young people as God the Father is to us, and to how to be a face of the Heavenly Father to the people.
Yeah, you said that was one of your big insights on your sabbatical.
Yeah, it was a book on the priesthood, on fatherhood. And actually, I gave it to my best buddy because I think if you put a line through the word priest and write the word dad, they're almost applicable to each other. And I gave it to him, and I said, "You should read this."
Very nice.
Of like how to become incredibly patient and sacrificial, loving with the children, as God the Father is with us children.
Wow.
Rob, you know anything about
What
that?
are you reading right now?
What I'm reading right now is the Gospel of Matthew.
Oh. Who wrote that?
I think Matthew. From what I
Oh,
know.
really?
Yeah.
Is he good? How many stars does he have on Audible?
He has 5.
Oh, 5 stars?
Yeah, it's infallible teaching.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
without error. It's so great.
I like it when Fulton Sheen, Archbishop Fulton Sheen, won his Emmy for his show back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And he got up and he said, "I'd like to thank my writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John." I love that. That was a good one.
Yeah, so I'm right now as the school year's kicking off. I was reading some St. Thomas Aquinas.
Why Matthew as opposed to the others?
Well, I love Mark, and
why not read Mark?
And I really, really, really like the Gospel of Luke.
Luke is my favorite.
Luke and Acts.
Luke is my favorite.
And then I because it's the year of Matthew, I just started reading it. So this is my
we're listening. So we're hearing Matthew on Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my second run at the Gospel of Matthew. So the second one I'm doing is on a little Gideon Bible. It's also my wallet. So my credit card and my driver's license are in there.
You cannot serve God and mammon, Father.
So sometimes I try to swipe my Bible and it doesn't work. They're like, sir, could you pay? And I try to tap my Bible and see if the Word of God will actually buy me, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm trying. So, okay, Father O'Brien, what do you got? What do you got? You got a stack of books.
I've been doing some reading and some listening. What has mostly dominated my summer in the car
is G League basketball.
Is a book by Joe Posnanski called The Baseball 100.
What?
And it's about the 100 greatest baseball players in history.
Yeah.
It's 30 hours.
Whoa.
It's 300,000 words.
How many pages would that be?
I have no idea. I'm just listening to it. It is awesome.
And which player does he count? Go to 100 and go down?
I'm on. Yeah. I'm on. I just got to number 4.
Was it Roberto Clemente?
No, he's in there, but Henry Aaron is number 4.
Oh.
So I just started Henry Aaron.
Do you know who's number 1?
No. I mean, it's got to be.
Do you mean look it up for you?
I'm assuming it's Babe Ruth.
Because Babe Ruth hasn't been said yet.
Yeah. Who do you can you name some people who are in it? I'll tell you.
Roger Ebert.
Who? Roger Ebert, the movie.
Sorry, that guy.
Movie critic.
Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens is in there.
Yeah. And then Ebert came to my brain, and I just said it.
What's been fascinating about it, and I've actually learned a lot. So you learn about players, kind of where they're from. Interesting, just super interesting stories, especially about old timers. Because I know a lot about these guys. Because when I was a kid, I collected baseball cards, and then I also had my friends and I. We had this. Before video games were what they are now, we had this like computer game called Micro League Baseball.
What?
And we would draft teams, but we would draft historic players. You could draft whoever you wanted in the history of baseball. So we would go to the library. Remember those?
Yeah.
We'd go to the library, and there was this book called the Baseball Encyclopedia, and it was huge.
Is Willie May Hayes in there?
Willie Mays Hayes. Play like Mays, run like Hayes. Who's Hayes? Major League. That's good stuff. No, so you'd have to go to the library, and we would all fight over this baseball encyclopedia, and you would look up, and you're looking for really good players, and so you have to go way back. Like George Sisler, right, batted .420 one year.
Whoa.
Right, he was like a high draft pick. Mordecai Three Finger Brown.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this guy.
So he one year had a 1.04 ERA back in 1912. High pick.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then all the favorites, Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Ted Williams. But the most fascinating thing about the Baseball 100 has been the number of players in it that played in the Negro Leagues.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I knew a few of them. Josh Gibson is probably the most famous. But a whole bunch of others, Satchel Paige, are kind of the most famous ones. But
You've been to Kansas City? Negro?
No, but that's what I want.
Times.
I really want to go because he mentions that
good.
several times. But the number of Negro League players that I had not heard of, I've never really looked into it, never really studied it. That has been the most fascinating thing.
There's a little, you have to go through it really slow, but there's an article from a newspaper, and it says, Klan versus Colored, reffed by Catholics. And it went down the list, and it said at the bottom that they thought they could get a fair game if Catholics were the umpires.
Oh.
Because the Klan didn't like Catholics. So it was a fair trade.
Oh.
A fair deal. It was Irish. I think it was Irish because the Irish were also discriminated against. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go.
There's
so
all
anyway,
sorts of cool
that
stuff
has
in there.
been absolutely fascinating. So actually, since the summer has ended, my days are more dominated by listening to podcasts, and I've gotten away from the book. But I just have 2 more hours, so I'm 28 out of 30 hours.
Was the three-finger guy? He's in the Negro League Hall of Fame?
No, he was not black. Mordecai Three Finger Brown.
But
all these great names.
And they have all these nicknames.
Oh, they do. Lots of nicknames. So then my other good summer read was a book by Dorothy Day.
Yeah.
I love Dorothy Day. But it was a book about St. Therese.
That's a Teresa Blazou on the
It was
front.
a book about St. Therese written by Dorothy Day.
Okay.
And I just loved it. I just loved it. This was a lot of my retreat, or not my retreat, but my vacation reading when I was out in Colorado and like on a plane. Then I have this little nugget.
Prayer for Beginners?
I have this. Oh, Prayer for Beginners is awesome. But
Is that what that is?
That's not this, no.
Oh.
This is called Roses Among Thorns, Simple Advice for Renewing Your Spiritual Journey by St. Francis de Sales.
Oh, he's good.
And this was actually given to me by a parishioner. And I want to say something that I don't want to come across as rude. This book is an exception to the rule. I would say, no, not that anyone is asking, but I would say, generally speaking, don't buy books for priests.
Okay.
Am I being mean?
No.
Am I a terrible person?
You're not.
Okay, good.
You are not.
I was waiting for your affirmation. Because generally speaking, priests have a bunch of books and are actually probably really behind
I gave away 30 books
on the books that they already have. But anyway, I am actually glad that a parishioner gave me this. So everything I just said, maybe you can just throw that out the window. But anyway, no, really, don't give me books. But St. Francis de Sales is awesome. The foreword was written by Bishop Conley from Omaha, Nebraska, or Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, yeah.
And it's just little one-page reflections.
Give me a little nugget of just.
I mean, you got a topic?
Just turn the page and put your finger on something.
All right, so this is about temptations.
Uh-oh.
You must not believe that temptations against the faith in the church come from God. Darkness, weakness, prostration, abandonment, loss of vigor, an interior void, a bitterness in the interior mouth capable of souring the world's sweetest wines, yes. But suggestions of blasphemy, infidelity, unbelief, no. These do not come from our good God. He is too pure to have such a purpose.
Whoa, okay.
Anyway, that's awesome.
Is it like The Way, the Furrow, and the Forage by...
It's a little bit. It's a little bit by Jose Maria Escriva.
Yeah.
But those are more like proverbs.
Are you reading this book? Because it doesn't look like it's well used.
What are you talking about?
I don't see any dents in the spine or darkness on the pages.
I'm supposed to hit my book against the wall? What are you talking about?
Well, that one in your hand also doesn't look like
this one I just started.
Doesn't look like you touched it all that much.
What do you think I do to books?
I'm over here just judging.
What? How should a book look?
I don't judge. I just observe and come to conclusions.
I'm not judging you. I'm just thinking things about you that I know are true. So this is a book called Renewing Catholic Schools, How to Regain a Catholic Vision in a Secular Age. As we continue to discern, what to do here in Stillwater, in the Catholic school.
What do you got below that
world?
One? You just
and then the other one I have not started is called The Case for Catholic Education, Why Parents, Teachers, and Politicians Should Reclaim the Principles of Catholic Pedagogy.
Whoa, who wrote that?
Ryan Topping.
Okay.
From Oxford.
Anyway,
but I haven't started that yet.
And what's that below that?
This is the Holy Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Is this worn enough for you?
Not really. Mine's pretty demolished.
Judgment.
Observing and coming to conclusions.
So anyway, those are the books that we're reading. Then I'm always reading articles, First Things. I get a lot of stuff off Twitter, like America Magazine.
When you print something off, will you just drop it on this table right here?
You always say that, but then the big pile develops.
No, I'll read it if it's if it's 2 to 3 pages. But if it's 19 pages and 6-point font and double barred like the
some of those are good.
I'm gonna give
from
it
Church Life Journal from Notre Dame, they put out some really good stuff. I just read an article from Dr. Tim O'Malley. Remember he was here this summer? And it's actually from 2019. It was about why the Mass is for little kids. I loved it. I loved it. Okay, anyway, that's what we're reading.
Go find some stuff.
Reading and listening to. Tell us what you're listening to.
No.
Write us a postcard. No. I mean, you can.
Send it all to 7-Eleven North Country along with $20 bills.
Send us checks to keep our show on the air. Next week, I have to tell you about an absolutely hilarious sign I saw in Colorado Springs about donuts. Do not let me forget. Do not let me forget. It's the funniest dang thing. Don't let me forget.
Tune in next week, y'all.
Read a book.
Okay.
Go to the library.
Peace.
We have one at our parish.